back again. We're back at it. We're on the couch. We got a little A. We in this thing. If you haven't liked already, you don't need to do it, or do it later, or do it now. Go ahead and do it now so you don't forget. Also, go ahead and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Turn on those post notifications and drop a comment. Tell me how you feeling about the show. Tell me what you're thinking, how you're feeling, but you give me some feedback. Let the people know. You know what I'm saying? Put it out there. It's okay. It's all gravy. It's all gravy. Lil A.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Excited to have you here. For those who don't know, this is basically my sister at this point. Anyway, so I know I'm really skinny. We're not gonna talk about that, but I love me some food. I try new food. I try the same food. I go to new restaurants. I order new things off the menus from old restaurants. Like, I'm just really like a food person. Mm-hmm. I know you like food.
I love food.
We done sit around and talked about food. We done made food together. We food people. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like food people generally are happy people. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can you be upset when you got your mouth full of just deliciousness?
Moods will fix the energies. I mean, food will fix the energies, the moods.
Yep.
Everything.
Mm-hmm. It can be a cause for celebration. It can be a part of the celebration. It can be what you celebrated. Hey, I learned how to make this. I found a new recipe for that. You know what I mean? Like, it can be a cause for reconnection. Whatever the case. Like, shoot, so in the previous episode, I talked about how I moved back from Wisconsin. So when I got back to Texas and we, you know what I'm saying, started linking up again, we grilled a whole lot of food. We fired up the grill. We did this. It was on and popping.
It was good. It was some good food.
And we did our thing. So in that same line of topic, following that thing. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about food, right? Like, but not like food like, oh, I like to get this on a Saturday. Right. I like these type of tacos on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. But I mean like food like from a cultural sense. Okay. You know what I mean? So like, I feel like, in my opinion, that when it comes to experiencing people, building bonds and forming relationships, right. You know what I mean? That food, I don't want to say it's necessarily instrumental in that, but it plays a big part. Yes. You know, like, you get cool with people in college, you know, you're like, oh, do you want to come to my people's house for Thanksgiving? Mm-hmm. Right? Oh, for Christmas we doing that. When it's the holidays, it's like, oh, man, bomb peach cobbler on Easter. My auntie makes the best sakatimi cake. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of these different occasions, and typically, at least in my experiences, food is almost a staple when inviting someone over or mentioning like a holiday or, you know what I'm saying, different things like that. So, where you from, Lil A?
I'm from Oakland, California.
You say it with so much
conviction.
You sound so happy.
Yes.
I was being sarcastic. Like, I'm from Oakland, California. You didn't sound happy to me.
Look here.
It's okay. You know, like, if you're not proud of where you're from.
Oh, like, I'm absolutely proud. Look, I may be in the whack state of Texas.
Ooh, wow.
But I am from Oakland, California, okay? East Oakland, okay?
Wow.
If y'all from California, let me know in the comments and just, at Adrienne. I'll be checking.
But anyway, let's talk about food. So the reason I asked where you're from is because I'm from Texas. You're from California. Mm-hmm. So obviously there's different themes of food. There's different staples. There's different norms, you know what I'm saying, of what's expected when you go to the different regions. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying, that we're from. So like, me being from Texas, I like to grill. I like barbecue. I like brisket, different things like that. Like, what are some of the things that you prefer to eat or like when you do go to California, or some of the staples, you know what I'm saying, when you're in the Bay Area?
This is the one thing I will say. And yes, because I'm from California, I feel like as a Californian, we've had great access to different foods. And I mean, amazing, authentic, great food of different nationalities. Like lumpia. Oh my God, I love some lumpia.
What is that?
Honestly, and I don't even want to get this wrong. I want to say it's what is it? Yeah, it's an Asian. What is it? It's kind of like an egg roll in a sense, where you'll just dip it in some type of sauce, but it's fried. It's like, dang, I guess you can say kind of like a fried spring roll, but it's similar to it, but it's not the exact same thing. But it was definitely big. I remember we had a couple people in our class. They would come in. They'll bring them on like potluck days, and that was just a thing that I just remember in elementary school. Absolutely amazing. But I think, because everybody likes to come to California and settle down. I think, when people bring their cultures, to California or just to the Bay Area, it's very true and authentic, and it's just the flavor profiles are just amazing, and I just love to eat. But I think the biggest thing for me, especially when I like to go back home, I just love to get the seafood because it's fresh. Like, I've tried in different places, East Coast, South, but I think, in my opinion, the West Coast has the best fresh seafood ever. And tacos. Oh, don't let me get started on tacos. But see, you got to get them at the food trucks. I don't care what nobody says. If you don't eat tacos from the food truck, from a taco truck, whatever, y'all's missing out, because those are definitely the best tacos that you will ever eat in your life. Period.
Okay.
Yes.
That's fair. So I know you said, like, one of the things that you highlighted as far as like food and growing up was that y'all had like potluck day in elementary school. And you remember that, you try different foods from different cultures due to the mixed environment that California is and how attractive it is.
Very diverse.
Right. So what's your opinion on this statement? If you haven't eaten your friend's food, y'all ain't real friends.
I think you could take it two different ways, but I guess my take on that is y'all ain't never been close enough to where y'all have either like spent the night over at a friend's place or something, y'all hanging out, or they're like, hey, you want to come over? I'm making blah. Because I feel like once you start inviting people into your home, y'all have reached a different level within the friendship. Like, y'all can be, hey, let's go here, hang out, but never see the inside of each other's apartments. Or you're like, hey, girl, come over. We're going to have some drinks. I'm going to make this. We're going to watch movies. And, that's going to be it. And then let's say you make something that's amazing. It's going to spread by word of mouth. Oh, yeah, Adrienne made such and such this other day. Can you make it again for this thing that we're doing? Or whenever we get together. So I think, that just, I kind of agree with it. I mean, y'all cool if y'all ain't never tried your friend's food, but I think once you do try, how your friends be cooking, you're like, oh, okay, cool. I can rely on, AJ, because I can't make no ribs. I'd be like, hey, you want to hook up some ribs? I'll bring the food. I'll bring the ribs. I just need you to cook them for me, because I know you're going to make some good ribs, good food. So, yeah.
So,
I agree.
Okay. All right. So, do you feel like you can learn about a person from their food?
Yeah. And I guess the reason why I'll say yes is because, again, we all come from different households, and then again, that branches out further between our parents and where they're from, and then how their families raised them. So I think it's kind of like a conversation starter, because not everybody will make like lasagna the same way. So for instance, or macaroni and cheese. Let me just tell you. Let's start with macaroni and cheese.
Slam mine
because
right
I grew up in a household where, my mom made macaroni. She made the macaroni and cheese, and she added in ricotta cheese. Now, I note not everybody will do that. I get that. So now as I'm getting older, people, they putting all their recipes on TikTok, Instagram, whatever, and they're showing you just what they add in theirs. I'm like, okay, well, I don't see no ricotta cheese. So what's the combining agent? I mean, I get it's the egg, but y'all really want to sit up here and eat noodles and cheese? What? No. So like, like for instance, like y'all may kill me in the comments. I don't care, but like for instance, y'all probably won't add that in. Probably will never add that in, because most of y'all probably don't know what that is. But I think it was great with it. Can we like bring it back so everybody can try it? I mean,
okay, all right. I feel like it depends. You know what I mean? So I'll use me for example. Right. I've gone through different food phases. So when I was a kid, I didn't cook. My mom cooked. You know what I mean? Like, we weren't a family that ate out a lot. My mom liked to cook, so we ate at home often, which I didn't mind. Like, she would try different things, and different recipes. In my opinion, my mom cooked very well. She's a great cook. And then when I got to college, I didn't cook a whole lot then. Like, I would cook on occasion, but it would be more so like me like either experimenting or doing something really, really easy. Because outside of that, like I had like the cafeteria, you know, we had the MSC, Chick-fil-A was on campus, et cetera, et cetera.
Other things.
And then once I moved to Wisconsin, you know what I mean, and I had to start being an adult. I had to start cooking more because it was like eating out every day is expensive. Whew. You can spend some money on some food, I tell you.
And wonder where your money went.
Man, be broken like so.
What had happened?
I just got paid 4 days ago.
No.
I got another week.
Make that $100 stretch.
Man. But no. But when I moved to Wisconsin, so growing up in Texas, like the main grocery store is H-E-B.
Yep.
And H-E-B has all different types of food. But when I moved to Wisconsin, they had Pick and Save. And that was like the closest grocery store to me. And it's like a branch of Kroger. It's kind of like a Kroger. So, not the same selections as H-E-B. Like they have more healthier types of foods. And Pick and Save, actually, in my opinion, has even more healthy options than Kroger does as a whole.
You're right.
Like more like organic chicken and like farm raised eggs and you know what I'm saying, different things like that. So when I made the move and I was going to the grocery store, I wasn't seeing the same types of produce or the same types of brands that I was used to. Even bread brands were different. So I had to adjust what I was buying to fit my diet, but it was still different than what I was used to.
Yeah.
So like going to H-E-B, I could just like get H-E-B chicken breast and like go about my day.
You already know the quality and all that stuff.
And then like going to Pick and Save, more likely than not, their options for chicken breast was like organic, farm raised, cruelty free. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Different things like that. Stuff. And so the reason I bring that up is because at that point in my life, I was eating healthier. I was making like a lot of chicken breast. I was eating rice. I was eating like broccoli, like a lot of healthy options. Even the fish that I was eating, there wasn't even a lot of catfish. It was more like salmon and you know what I'm saying, different things like that. And then as time progressed, and I moved out of the particular city that I was in Wisconsin. I moved to a different city. I started going to a different grocery store, and then my grocery list shifted a little bit then. And then coming back to Texas, it shifted again. So like now that I'm back home and I have H-E-B at my disposal, like I'm eating more beef and I'm eating more pork and eating even lamb. You know what I mean? Like different things like that. Hey, they had it. I was like, let me go on and get some of these chops. We gonna see what it do. Fire up the grill. You know what I mean? And we gonna see what it do. Throw some asparagus on the side, maybe a sweet potato.
That sounds good.
I do feel like you can learn about a person from what and how they cook, but I also feel like you can only tell a portion of the story. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, I know that like you have spurts of like when you really want to like be like super healthy. So like sometimes you go on like different types of diets. You may like change what you eat for snacks and you know what I'm saying, different things like that. And I feel like depending on what your current goal is, like with your personal health and your personal nutrition, people may catch you in a different space if you do choose to prepare a meal.
That is true. That is very true.
So I feel like it kind of like you can learn some of a person, and then like it may spark a conversation for you to learn more. Yeah. But I feel like it can only give you so much because things do change. Diets change, restrictions change, goals change. You know, like all of those different things.
I definitely agree.
Right. So, how can I put this? So like growing up in Texas, myself. There's a large Hispanic population, and so like I've been to like a few different quinceañeras and different things like that where I've been immersed in like Hispanic and Mexican culture, whether it's the music or the style of dance or the food more specifically. Right. Have you been in any? I don't want to say situations, but have you been in any environments where you've been like submersed in like a different cultures, like food or you know different things like that?
I have. I'm gonna just include my international travel only because I've never been to quinceañera. What's the other one for the Jewish?
A bar mitzvah.
Thank you, bar mitzvahs. Never been to anything like that, but yes. So I've traveled to both China and South Africa. So of course, you go to a different country, you're in somebody else's different, culture, which means different foods and stuff like that. So, definitely when I went to China, that was like the first time I ever tried duck and it was honestly amazing. Like the way that they cooked it, it was great. The flavors were there, and I just loved it. But you know, of course.
So, quick question. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I got to know about this duck. Like, was it like a whole duck, like how people do corn and shins, or was it like duck wings?
No, I think it was the
like
whole
duck breast.
I think it was the whole duck because I have a picture of it, and they had a whole presentation where the guy rolled it out on a little cart, and you know he was like really cutting it, like it was a show. Like I just remember him doing it. It was a show. I said, oh, okay, cool. And then because depending on how he was cutting it, every table had a plate, and I think there were like 5 tables. So once he was done cutting it up, he brought it to the table, and I was like, oh, okay. So I tried it, and it was just amazing. Like I tried it again in South Africa, and so haven't had it since, but it was great both times I've tried it. But back to what I was saying in China. So again, you know, different cultures have different, you know, things that they eat a lot of. So again, they were eating a lot of rice there. There was a lot of vegetables, and then they also have like a lot of like I won't say this, not fried foods, but for instance, when I was staying out there, we stayed, we were taking classes. So of course, when it was like lunchtime, we were eating in their school cafeteria, and most of the times it was very consistent where you'll get rice, probably like bok choy, and some type of protein. And I just remember like how they fry their foods is like completely different out there. So there was like some fried foods, but like sometimes I had like stews and like breads and stuff like that. So it was definitely it was a lot of an adjustment. Like if some of the food you just didn't like, of course you didn't eat it, but you know, I tried to make sure that I tried everything that I could when I was out there, if it looked good or not. But most of the time I didn't try anything that I didn't per se like. I mean, I don't remember if there was something I didn't like, but you know, I enjoyed it. I think traveling internationally will definitely give you a different, you know, some insight on how, you know, other people cook or what their specialties are. Like for instance, we went to a Pizza Hut, and it's not basic pizza. It's not your pepperoni cheese combination type of thing. They had like some outrageous combinations of pizza on their menu, and
Where is this
in China.
Okay.
Like Pizza Hut in China was completely different. And I had pictures of all this, and I don't know if I tried any of it, but it was just interesting to look at and see what they have like compared to America. But yeah.
That's cool. So, question.
Yes.
Being a woman, you know, like I feel like men tend to approach women majority of the time. Like, you know, hey, how you doing? What's your name? What's your number?
Right.
All of those different types of things. Have you ever had anyone approach you from like a different culture or a different nationality or anything along those lines, and part of their, I guess, introduction or offer to you to get some time was pertaining to food with their culture? Like, oh, I know how to make this, or oh, I can take you to such and such restaurant. They have a really good that. Like, have you ever had an experience like that?
I'm trying to think. Off the top of my head, I can't think of nobody that offered me food, but they did approach.
So, do you feel like you could have a long-term romantic relationship with someone and not know their cooking level or familiarity, like culinarily? You know what I'm saying? Like whether it's grilling, baking, frying, whatever the form of cooking. Like, do you feel like you could be in a long-term romantic relationship with someone and you don't know
how they cook?
Right.
No, because I would assume before. I mean, I'm guessing. I don't know. However long y'all are together, I'm assuming at one point in time you have cooked and he or she has cooked. So if we 3 years in and I ain't never seen you cook a dish, that's a problem.
Yeah,
like, yeah, that just means you don't know how to cook. But again, I would assume that you would have told me that prior, like way earlier on. So of course I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't mind cooking.
Right.
I'm Mark the Steward or Rachel, whatever her name is, Rachel Ray. And I'm cool with just carrying us as we cook and bake together. So, nah, I don't think I could. I mean, I think it's an equal thing. Like, there may be certain things that you're great at making that I would not, number one, would not make, or I can't make. So I would rely on you for that. And then, you know, if I have my specialties, I'll make my little special dishes, and you know, it's a partnership, I think.
So have you had conversations with people you've been in a relationship with about like, can you cook?
Oh, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
So is the conversation, can you cook, or is the conversation, what you gonna cook for me?
It could be a little bit of both depending on the conversation. A little bit of both depending on the conversation, but I think it's more of, I think how I approach it is kind of like the playful what you gonna cook, but it will turn serious into what can you cook, like do you have special dishes or something like that. And then I'm like, oh, okay, well, cool. I want to try, because probably by that time I probably already made the first meal. So inquiring minds want to know, can you cook, and will you cook for me? So, yeah.
Yes and yes.
Okay.
I want to know.
Okay. All right. So, let's say that there is a new employee at your job, right? And they join the team that you typically work with, so you know y'all are in, we'll say, regular communication.
Right.
And let's say the world is normal, everybody's like in office. And this person, you know, since they're the newest to the team, they want to get to know people, they invite y'all to their house. Like, hey, I'm gonna make some food.
All right.
Y'all can come over this particular weekend, whoop-de-woo, all of that. If their food, I want to word this the right way, whether you like the way the food tastes or you don't care for the food, do you think that that would influence the relationship that you and this person have? Because I'm not going to lie to you, it would influence my relationship, at least initially.
If you're the person cooking the food, or you're the person attending the home? If I'm the person attending.
If I'm attending, and if I was invited and I'm attending, personally, it would, depending on how I cared for the food, it would influence at least my initial relationship with that person. Like, if the food is really good, I would be like, oh man, you did your thing, this was great, we got to get together again. Like, I would want to continue building a relationship and a bond with that person, versus if it was food that I didn't care for, I feel like I would be more reluctant to spend time with this person. Not that it was anything against them, but it's like my initial experience wasn't all that great or favorable. And so I don't think that I would have the notion within me to want to pursue more with this person, at least initially.
I think that's a valid explanation, but even in the explanation, all I'm hearing is, it sounds like you don't want to be this person's friend because they can't cook.
I mean, I ain't know them before then, so if your initial thing to me is like, you don't bring me some food and I don't like your food, like, if I don't care for it, I mean, I don't really have much else to go off of.
I will say it is valid, and probably there are some people where they're like, the food wasn't all that, and they like, they okay, but I think, you know, let the person maybe redeem themselves, or...
Well, that's why I say initially, like, it's not for everything.
I'm like...
But I feel like initially, like, that would be my experience. But I'm asking yours.
I don't know. I mean, I think early on, if I'm meeting somebody, a friend, whomever, and they just can't cook, or if I find, I don't know, like you're saying, I try something and I may not like it, I may just, you know, if they ask me how it was, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, but...
So what you gonna say?
I think
They're like, here's my dish. It's my signature dish that I made for all of you. I want to be friends.
This is my thing.
How did you like it?
This is what I do. And I just do this as a rule of thumb. If I'm ever trying anything new that I'm not used to or I've never tried before, I'm definitely taking like just a little bit of it just so I can taste it out. That way they're like, hey, if they come around making rounds, if it's a party or whatever, they're like, oh, okay. Did you try blah, blah, blah? I'm like, oh, yeah, I tried some of it. You know, it was cool. I don't know. I may double back later and be like, hey, girl, you know, can I have that recipe that you know, the recipe for that dish you made at the party? Or like, hey, you know, I just thought about it. There was something that was missing. Like, because for me, if I'm cooking for friends or family, I'm constantly like looking down, like, yo, what am I missing? Am I missing something? Like, what's going on? Is this good, bad, like whatever? I feel like I can't grow personally, cooking if you don't tell me, if my stuff isn't great or not.
All right, so let's role play real quick.
Yes.
This is your plate.
Okay.
Made your food.
Thank you.
I come back and I check in. Wait a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, there's so much left. Like, did you not like it? Like, I know she only ate a little bit.
Okay.
What do you say?
Oh. Because I was getting ready to ask my question. But honestly, this is what I would do. I would have been like, oh yeah, girl, it's good. I tried a little bit of this and that. I do like this. It tasted pretty good, but I'm still, working on my plate. I've been talking to a couple people and drinking, so girl, don't worry. I'm eating my food.
Okay. So you're going to be a politician. But no, so I ask you these things because I feel like no matter the culture or no matter the person,
right?
Food is important to them. And I feel like there's a lot of pride behind the food.
No,
you know what I mean?
agree.
Like when you were saying that your mom does the ricotta cheese or the macaroni and cheese, or you know what I'm saying? Some people make their own barbecue sauce when they make ribs, or like just a bunch of different things like that. I feel like there's a lot of pride behind the food, but there's also a lot of love and intention.
True.
When someone's presenting that dish.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying, to whomever their guests are. So have you ever had an experience where you were serving someone food or you were entertaining guests, and the reaction either from one person, multiple people, whatever the case, that you received wasn't what you were expecting when you were, entertaining your guest or guests?
I haven't received any type of unpleasant reaction. If anything, I remember there was one time I was throwing this New Year's Eve party and I just decided to make rotel dip, whatever. So, I'm just like, okay, cool, I'm cool. I'm good with it. I mean, I made it for friends, whatever. And they were like, okay, it's good. I'm like, okay, cool. I know what I'm doing now. And, again, because everybody has different taste buds. So I'm making it, whatever. I remember one of my guests, she was trying it out. And she was like, oh, girl, just adding a little bit more, blah, blah, blah. So, for instance, that's what I mean by, I'm sure she wasn't saying, it was bad or nothing, but she was like, hey, girl, just add a little more seasoning, and we good to go.
Did you have bland nachos?
No! Look, okay, I probably... Don't be sitting over here trying to roast me in my own story.
I wasn't there. It just sounded like your nachos was a little bland.
My nachos was not bland, y'all. Some people just want stuff extra salty, okay? And that's fine. I don't like diabetes. But my food is still flavorful. I don't care. But, I was like, okay, girl, just add your little stuff in. And that was that. I didn't take any personal offense to it. So, when I literally say, someone could just be like, hey, girl, just add this in. And whether she was honestly saying my food was bland, I wouldn't have known because she was so cool, low-key with it. I said, okay, girl, do what you do. And I'm learning something new. So if she added in something that I've never added in before and I just start adding it in, it becomes just kind of like a part of a recipe. So you pass that on to everybody else.
Did you incorporate the saltiness of her preferences into your recipe?
No, because hers was real salty.
Well, no, I'm just asking because you were saying you get the feedback, you pass it on. So I was just wondering if that was something you incorporated into your recipe and then you passed on the salty nachos to everybody, or if it kind of.
I mean, that was a one pot thing. So I mean, people at my party, y'all had it. I apologize if it was a little too salty. But yeah, it was great.
Okay. Okay, that's cool. So when you were traveling to South Africa, I'm sure that you were enveloped in a different culture. And I'd assume something that you weren't all the way familiar with.
Right.
So what was that like? Were you going to different restaurants? Was there people preparing food for your group specifically?
So majority of the time when we were eating there, it was kind of a both where we did go out to restaurants and then we had people prepare our food. So for instance, again, because it was a study abroad trip, we were given a presentation on one of the college campuses, and later on that day they had already had this potluck type of dinner prepared for us where, of course the food was already there. So all we had to do was just attend the event. There were some also some side dishes that I've never tried before. I can't think of their names right now, but I know when I was eating it, it was fantastic. Typical proteins like chicken and beef and all that stuff. But then, yes, we did go to like some restaurants. So, dang, I can't remember this other place, but they had some great, oh my God, it had some bomb fried chicken. It was just really great. Food is the gateway into happiness. So no matter where you are in the world, and if you find something that you enjoy, keep eating it. Like, for instance, this duck that I keep talking about. I still have not had it again since being back, in America.
All right, folks. So, I know that to date, it's been one-on-ones, whether it was online, in person, couch, outside, whatever the case. But today, switching things up a little bit, we have a special guest. Come on, give him a round of applause. Everybody give him a round of applause. Welcome AB to the couch, baby. Come on, big dog. Welcome to the couch. Welcome to the couch.
I'm out here.
How you doing today, man?
You know what I'm saying? We out here. We're doing all right.
That's beautiful.
That's
Beautiful. You feeling all right? Everything cool?
Oh, yeah.
That's cool. That's real cool. I see y'all matching. You got the gray with the gray.
The
glasses.
You know,
it's a little accidental, but it works.
Kind of wanted to flex. Subtle flex.
That's cute. Yeah, you got that.
Some slight.
Ponytails going.
Some slight.
Come on, hair flip. Come on. Come on, bun flip. Come on.
An extra heavy bun.
So, AB.
Yes.
You strike me as a person that likes food.
Yes, I do.
All right. Would you say that when it comes to food that you're a cultured man?
I won't say cultured. Definitely a novice. I do go out and I casually happen to explore different foods. Not too often does it happen, but when it does happen, it's a really good experience. Yes.
That's cool.
Can I ask a question though?
Yeah.
Where are you from? Tell the people where you originally are from.
My family is from Honduras, Central America. My people's people reside on the beach side of the country. So most part of the Caribbean area. They do travel back and forth from there to the islands. My grandfather was a merchant. He'd go from the coast all the way to St. Vincent and then back just to go do business.
So you said your grandfather was a merchant?
Yeah.
What was his trade?
His trade was seafood. He'd always go fishing, and he'd have his whole crew. He had several boats, and everything he'd catch, he'd sell some back to the village, or just feed everybody in the village, and then he'd go sell the rest because there was just so much that he caught during the week that he'd go to different islands, sell them over there, come back over here and take care of the family.
That's cool.
Yeah.
He's not a pirate.
No.
So for anybody out there that's watching this, it's like, oh, he had a crew, a bunch of ships, and he was doing this. He's not a pirate.
Listen
No
to
pirate.
me. I'm the captain now.
No.
Those were pirates.
Those were pirates.
Grandfather was not a pirate. He was a fisherman. He was a merchant. So do you ever have you ever gone to Honduras to see your family's family or spend any time in Central America?
Yes, several times. Times. I believe my last trip was 2 years ago. We had went with serious business. My great grandmother had passed during that time. But since then, prior to that, the last time I went to Honduras before that last trip was when I was 11, so 2006. So
wow.
That's a good while. A lot of things are still very similar.
Right.
Nothing much has changed. Still a touristic area. Beautiful place.
So when you went a couple of years ago, were you there long enough to experience the food and all of that?
Oh yeah,
Or was it more so just business?
We still got to do a couple of those things as a family. We went to go eat a lot of seafood oriented places for sure. And it's very rural, the area where my people are from. But it was still a great experience.
That's cool. So the seafood, Like, what kind of seafood was it? Was it like crab? Was it crawfish? Was it like what kind of?
Everything.
Well, not crawfish. They'd have crab for sure, and it's always these um, decent sized crabs that are very meaty on the inside.
Oh yeah.
And they had salmon. They had red snapper. They had like bluefish, I believe. They had a whole bunch of different type of fish. What's that other one called? A lot of Caribbean people eat this bacalao, which I believe in English is codfish.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So they have a whole bunch of that stuff there,
Mm-hmm.
and they also have like manta ray or stingray.
Mm-hmm.
They just hang them up and let them dry.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Is it like jerky?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's like jerky.
Fish jerky.
Yeah, it's like jerky basically.
That's
Seafood jerky.
interesting.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Me neither. So I'm really interested in the seafood though, because I know that at least here, like in the States, like seafood can vary. Like like if you were to get crawfish in Texas, it'd be different from how you get crawfish in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Or if you were to get hot dogs in the South, it's different than getting a hot dog in like the Midwest.
Yeah.
Or if you know what I'm saying, like regionally,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, like
yeah.
things can change in the
Yeah.
States. So how, like in what ways was seafood like prepared and served while you were in Honduras?
Okay, so over there, a lot of the time it's kind of like you could say roasted, grilled, spit roasted fish
Yeah.
the way they cook it. So they'd open it, they scale it first. They take the
Right.
scales off. That's how they prepare it while you see them cook. So they get the scales off, they open it, gut it, they clean it with vinegar and water, and they just go ahead and either throw it on the grill, throw it in a soup for you to eat, or even like depending on how you like it, soup. There's broiled, there's grilled, and there's just different types. They'd have it made with special sauces, the pickled onions, fried plantain accompanying it.
Okay. Quick sidebar: plantain or plantain?
I say plantain just because
Plantain or plantain?
slow
Plantain. I always hear that more.
I say plantain.
roll. Yeah.
Continue on.
Okay.
Because there's some people that say plantain. Like they'll argue that like it's plantain, not plantain.
Plantain is just like you might as well just get it confused with that SpongeBob character, Plankton.
You say,
You know what I'm saying? You see how similar that sounds? Just say plantain.
Yeah.
That sounds better.
Yeah.
Join the team.
okay.
Plantain. Have you guys also had fried yuca?
What is
I've heard of that. Isn't it like a...
That's how y'all say it, but in Spanish it's yuca frita.
But what is it?
It's like a.
Is it a fish? Is it a shell?
It's
I
a
know I've heard
vegetable.
of
It's like a root
Yeah.
plant. So it has like a brown shell, but inside it's white.
Yeah.
You say it's a root plant? Like is it like a root like on
Kind of like a
it grows
coconut?
off the
on ground, or
Yeah,
is it a
kinda
root like
ca-
from like the sea?
Like it's yam. It's like a white yam basically.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'll see like yuca fries or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I've seen it.
I've
Never
like
had it.
Yucatan potatoes. I don't know
A
if that's similar.
Yucatan potato.
Yeah. Like there's like there's different types of potato, like
believe-
Idaho potato.
Oh, yeah,
I
I know what you
Yucatan
mean.
potato.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I believe Yucatan potatoes is like very
The
similar
same
term
thing.
to what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
They're so good. Oh my gosh.
What do they taste like? Taste like regular fries or?
I mean, have you had fried plantains? No.
No.
Okay, so the consistency is who has the crunchiest fries that you guys. Which restaurant do y'all think has the crunchiest fries?
I don't even think they do crunchy fries anymore like that, dog.
The best
Or like
fries.
the crispiest
Like,
fries.
the crispiest, crunchiest fries I can think of is like some Ore-Ida fries from the freezer. It's the grocery store.
No, you know what? Yeah, because if you dip them in some, not dip them, but if you drop them in some hot grease, yeah, they do
Them
get
Ore-Ida
crunchy.
fries.
Okay, so if
They
that's the
do get
closest.
crunchy.
If that's the closest
Yeah.
comparison, it's somewhat like that.
Well, I've had fried
But
plantains
the-
before, so.
The inside of it is it has a very potatoey consistency.
Mm-hmm.
So, but a little bit, it feels more like straw or husk
Okay.
inside. Cause it's,
When you
it's
eat
really,
it?
Yeah, when you eat
Okay.
it.
Okay.
But since it's fried, it's a little bit softer on your palate, which makes it pretty good with some salt.
Mm-hmm.
So they serve fish with that, or all your seafood with those items, plantain, fried yuca, or we also have this other item that they call cassave, which is yuca in itself, I believe, but they grind it, and then it goes through this little process where they turn it into like a flour, and they turn it into like you guys know masa bread, right? Like the way flatbread.
I think so. Yeah.
Flatbread, masa bread, something like that. But it's like it's like very thin and crispy, like a very thin and crispy breading.
Okay.
And you just eat it like that with the sauce or a gravy that comes with the fish or the meal, which is it's really good. Soggy. I hate it dry though.
That's cool. That's cool. So this is something I've always wondered, not particular to the two of you, but just in general. You being Honduran, you being from the Bay, and I'll use Texas as an example, since there's a lot of different cultures and a lot of different types of foods and restaurants, etc. Available for people to try things and whatnot. What's y'all's opinion on food appropriation?
Like you talking about like Tex-Mex?
Yeah. Why did I go exactly there?
I mean, it could be Tex-Mex, yeah, but I mean just across the board. Like,
are you speaking more towards authenticity?
Yes.
Okay.
So like for example, the name of a venue versus the people who run it type thing, or
that, and then as well as the food.
Okay.
Yeah. So like going somewhere and like we'll use Taco Bell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Taco Bell.
That's perfect actually.
With like hard shell tacos and all these different things, and we all have eaten, authentic tacos. It's soft, typically corn, etc., etc. Not
green
hard
sauce,
flour, etc., and so on. Even when it comes to cheese, like typically authentic street tacos don't have cheese.
True. Yeah.
But like
if you do, they have cheese that melts.
Right.
Like grill it.
Yeah.
Put it on
So.
Thank you.
What's y'all's opinion on food appropriation?
For me, it's just like you hate to see it. It's just pretty much
kind
it.
of. Yeah.
That's my take towards it. Cause
do you feel like food appropriation is real?
I think we just tried a place where it was like New Orleans taco seafood place, and it was ran by Asian Americans, and I was kind of like, nothing wrong with that, but it was definitely different to see, because typically, if we go to a Chinese restaurant, we're not seeing
like
African Americans run it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we couldn't make Chinese food, but
I have one similar to what you're mentioning with Chinese food. So a couple streets away from where I stay, there is a Chinese food place. The thing that's strange is that it's in Spanish.
Okay, I don't think I've ever heard of that before. That's different.
But this is the experience. I've called and ordered, and I've gotten a Latina lady that's answered before. But I go in, and she's the one at the counter, but the person cooking in the back is an actual Asian man. So it's kind of like a conundrum.
That is a little weird.
It's strange, right?
But is she working for the business, or is he working for the business?
I mean, regardless, they working for the business.
Yeah, exactly.
True, but I'm just saying, it's different if you just, happen to hire, a Hispanic woman.
It's it made sense to me, being that I'm a Hispanic or Caribbean Hispanic man or Afro Latino, because it's a highly populated area with Latinos, so it's I understand why y'all did it, but I don't know a lot of Latino people asking, damn, I want some Chinese food, but I can't order it in English.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Pardon my ignorance, but where else do they have Chinese food? I mean, I know they have Chinese food in Honduras, but it's the one Chinese food restaurant there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I get it, but I mean, I don't think anything's bad with it. It's just different. Like it's like a one-off type of thing. Like you just don't expect to see that type of thing or hear about that type of thing.
So let me ask y'all this. Let me pose this question, being devil's advocate, on the topic of food appropriation.
Mm-hmm.
So earlier, Adrienne, you spoke on like people sharing recipes and all the different things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to sharing recipes,
Right.
I think it's fair to assume that sometimes it may be outside of your culture or outside of the norm of what you typically cook.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the difference between like someone sharing a recipe or you experimenting with a different recipe or a different type of food personally, and then going to a restaurant and then seeing someone Hispanic running an Asian restaurant or someone Asian running a Cajun style restaurant or something along those lines? Because at the end of the day, it is food.
Right.
Yes, there is culture tied to food, but everybody doesn't want to always eat the same thing every day. And recipes are available for a reason. Whether it's a cookbook that's physical and online source. But what I'm saying is like playing devil's advocate and saying like there's no such thing as food appropriation because people want to try new things. People like to eat different things.
Right.
Like what about that side?
I mean, that's like you saying, okay, if I'm interpreting this right, that's like you saying black people can only make soul food and can't make nothing else.
Also true.
Like, I love me some Italian food. I love lasagna.
I feel like food is
Should Italians only make that, and I have to give me an Italian friend so I can get some lasagna?
Yeah, I mean, but you gotta understand. Like,
spaghetti, black moms make big pots of spaghetti. We all know. Last 3 days in the home. That's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What are we gonna tell our parents when we say, "No, mom, we black, we can't make spaghetti no more"?
Why'd you attack them like that?
I'm just saying.
You said black moms like you was holding the gun to his neck.
I mean, but black moms know that if a black mom watches it, she gonna understand.
It's like, stop.
I'm just saying. Just answering this question. Like, that's why I said if I'm interpreting this correctly.
Well, that would be what you're saying now is more so towards the first side of food appropriation being a thing.
Okay.
So I'm saying like on the opposite side of food appropriation not being a thing. Because of the sharing of recipes, because of the differences in palate, because of the differences in experiences that you want. That side saying that food appropriation is not a thing.
Oh, okay.
So the black mom thing and the spaghetti, that would have pertained more so to the first half.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's a good thing though because it's either people are gonna put their own spin on it and people are gonna love it.
True.
Or you just love food that much that you're willing to learn someone else's or a different culture's food. I mean, granted, you have regions that not too many people can mimic. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, what people eat in Russia, nobody really knows what they eat in Russia unless you're specifically there, you enjoy their food, and you know how to cook it. So it's the same. It applies the same to the Oriental regions as well. When it comes to their cooking as well, it's kind of one of a kind. Not too many people can replicate that.
Sure.
There's been, people of other races and cultures that have tried, and it's either come out bland or it's been a success. And and people enjoy trying to learn the recipes that they came up, even though it's a different spin on the same dish. You know? It's like that type of thing for sure. And that's why I love about like just food in general. Anyone can learn how to cook it if they like it enough. You know what I'm saying?
That is true.
Like it doesn't matter which region it is. It's just like, damn, it's
food.
good.
It's good. It's good.
So let's take it a step further. And I'll use y'all's example of the Asian ran Cajun restaurant. So typically when you go to a restaurant, there's a thing like there's music, there's decorative things on the wall, there's maybe a thing within the menu. You know what I'm saying? All of those different things. And in line with the Cajun thing, let's just say that like they're playing Cajun music or Zydeco, and the themes on the walls are like related to like the Saints and Bourbon Street, and, you know what I'm saying, all those different things. Does it then become more than just food appropriation or or wanting to experience the culture, and then does it shift into like a cultural appropriation type of thing, or do you feel like it's just part of the business and this is what they're doing to run a successful business?
I'd say it's part of the business. It doesn't make sense. Again, if I'm going to the Cajun restaurant and number one, it doesn't look anything of Cajun inside. Like, if I want to enjoy an experience there, I'm expecting to see things that are going to remind me, you know, of Cajun. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's just simple. Like, it just wouldn't make sense to not have, you know, those type of things if you want to make a successful business.
I pretty much agree. But I also think it also can also stem from where they have been or where they settled for a certain amount of time. I mean, when I walked into the restaurant, the way everything was decorated and designed, you know, they had like little steering wheels on the walls. They had like anchors and stuff like that painted up on there, and they had like it was like an aquarium setting hanging from the ceiling. And it was pretty cool. But like at the same time, it's like you can't just count them out because they're Asian, because we don't know if they're Asian or, you know, Cajun Asian. You know what I'm saying?
No, true.
Like, you
true,
know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it's a thing. It exists. You know, there are definitely people who might not look like it, but they've been in that specific area for maybe their whole life.
Another thing I just thought about, because back to your point, similar to your story before where you said there was a Hispanic lady answering the phones or whatever, whether she owned the restaurant or just was working there, we could say the same thing, because we saw our waitress who was Asian, but I don't know, for some reason it automatically just was like, this is Asian owned. I'm not sure if they actually have somebody who was Asian back there cooking the food or somebody else back there cooking the food for the company. So I just thought about that, sorry. But I mean, I don't know. Food is food at the end of the day. I mean, sometimes it's just interesting seeing different nationalities kind of mash up, I guess. That isn't like the norm. So
So in that same line of the, we'll say, perceived nationality, because, you know, just because someone is of Asian descent, that does not necessarily mean that they're, you know what I'm saying, Asian. So we'll say their perceived nationality, not necessarily aligning with the category of restaurant. So I would assume that if either of you saw like a black person in front of a soul food restaurant, you would think nothing of it. You know what I'm saying? You go about your day, standard, whatever the case. But what would be your thoughts or your opinions on seeing a non-black person owning and operating and running a soul food restaurant?
I'm questioning it. Like, what do you know? What do you know about that?
Yeah, what do you
Whose
know
recipes are you using?
No,
Now,
I
want to time out, because
recipes.
What's the difference between what I just asked and then the Asian owned and operated Cajun restaurant? Because before you were saying, well, they could have grown up there, they could have been all they know. Now you're saying, well, what do you know? Who recipes you got? Who your mama them?
Exactly.
No, okay.
But that's already an answer within itself. You already know about Cajun Asian. They've been taught. They've been taught the way.
But I didn't specify. You know what I'm saying? Who was operating that soul food? I just said a non-black person. But y'all's immediate response was going into like I don't want to say investigation, but
credibility. What's your credibility?
Running their credibility. So what's the difference?
I mean, I don't know.
I feel like it's more like the style of cooking. When it comes to Cajun, it's like one of those things that people are willing to teach you. Like, let me teach you about this stuff.
I feel like
right
it's the same with soul food. Like, people's aunties, grandmas, mothers would be like, come in here and learn this.
I mean, from my experiences, some of these aunties and grandmas were kind of secretive.
Yeah,
They
they
may be
were.
secretive about. I'll
Like
agree that
this-
they're secretive about particular things. Like maybe you can't get the full recipe to like they beans or like their
You know,
special
stuff
dessert.
like
but I mean like overall.
It's like stuff like that.
But I feel
that
like it's the same
wonder
thing with like
about.
Cajun too.
Yeah.
Like
I think that-
people will have like their one-offs of like, oh, I can't tell you like my particular like
God damn.
like boil that I use for my crawfish
Yeah.
or whatever it is. But I'll teach
Yeah.
you these other things. I feel like any type of, you know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. Like I don't know why it was just so quick to kind of already make that assessment. I mean, I think this is where I'm getting at. I think it was so quick to jump to that conclusion with the other scenario because we black, we can attest to black food. I'm not Cajun. I don't know. Like they could have, some decent food,
Right.
or they could just have some trash food, and I can't attest to neither one because I've never had the best or the the normal type of however they cook their Cajun food. Like they could have just cooked it completely different.
Let's put let's press time out. Well, I won't say time out. Let's have an interjection.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been to the state of Louisiana?
Yes.
Have you eaten food in Louisiana?
Yes.
Have you had Cajun food in Louisiana?
I've had fried fish and shrimp and pasta, seafood
So it's-
pasta. So yeah,
Possible. You know what I'm saying? You have Cajun food.
yeah, maybe so.
So, would it be fair to say that you have experienced authentic Cajun food?
I mean, yes, but at the same time, I don't know. I just feel like I may want it from like the native. Like I just want to know how they cook it. Like because that's an establishment. That's a restaurant. Like yes, you can make and cook good food, but who is to say that particular space is authentic?
So, what's the difference between a Cajun restaurant, because that is a restaurant, and then the soul food restaurant? Because at the end of the day, they both still restaurants. At the end of the day, they both have their own cultures to them. At the end of the day, they typically have a visual employee base that matches that style of restaurant.
Yes.
So, what's the difference?
I would say that the difference would probably be location. Location. Is it a local spot or is it a franchise?
That's what I'm getting.
That wasn't what we was talking about.
No, but that
Yeah, but
is
that
kind of
was-
where I was getting with my answer.
That kind of like affects the customer base. Like
Whatever the traditional soul food place here in Houston is, like that is known for,
years,
great
decades.
soul food ain't the same as
Well, see,
I don't know whatever the chain soul food place would be.
But y'all
There
talk
is
about
one.
something else. I'm talking about.
I feel like I was answering the question.
Y'all talk about something else. Y'all are speaking more so on like staples. I'm speaking on a visual and then a cultural thing, which doesn't have anything to do with staples. Like we can take Zaxby's for instance. Zaxby's is a franchise, but also has a culture associated with it.
Exactly. So when you think about that, you'd assume Zaxby. You don't know who Zaxby's would be owned by. You could say
Yes, you do.
It's
It's a chicken spot.
Okay.
Who you think owned a chicken spot?
Exactly.
It's not too many people.
You ain't gotta say it like that.
You can say it like that,
But that's
it's
what
like-
I'm saying. Like it may be whether it's a franchise chicken spot or it's a local chicken spot. It's a chicken spot at the end of the day.
Yeah, but
and you can
here's the-
associate pre-associate a certain type of person with a chicken spot.
Yes.
Whether it's a franchise or it's a local standalone mom and pop shop. If it's a chicken spot, it's a chicken spot at the end of the day. What I'm saying is, if you see a chicken spot that's a franchise and it's owned by, we'll say people from Australia, and then you see a franchise chicken spot and it's owned by some black people from Tennessee, you're going to have a different connotation on the type of chicken.
Basically, yes.
Right.
Yes.
So regardless of if it's a franchise or a staple or a mom and pop shop, that don't matter. When we're talking about the cultural aspect of the food and the people who are operating the establishment.
This is deep. Getting deep.
I mean,
She's like, I don't even know, man.
Because like when we were talking about the Asian reign and operated Cajun spot, it didn't matter if it was a local or if it was a franchise. It was an Asian operated Cajun spot.
yes.
Same thing with the soul food spot. We didn't say if it was local or if it was franchise. We just said a non-black operated soul food spot.
Right.
So whether it's local, mom and pop, or franchise, doesn't really matter when we're talking about the cultural aspect of it and who's operating and running these establishments.
Yeah, I mean, but I guess my point getting there was when you have it done, well, when you have it owned one way versus owning it another way, or the growth of it, you see how one uses certain ingredients that the other one doesn't use. You know what I'm saying? So going back to ingredients are different. For example, when you have the franchise, take the franchise for example, when they cook certain parts of their foods, they can't use certain ingredients because their base is bigger, but they also have to worry about people's allergies and people's well-being and things like that. So it's not going to taste the same as it would with the local shop, because the local shop, the people who go there know what they're going there for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And nobody's gonna say, "Oh, I'm allergic to this, that, or this," because the people that are going there is a specific audience. They know what they're getting. They know what they're gonna eat. They know what they're tasting.
Yeah.
But so when they go, for example, when like I mentioned the allergy thing, so if they go from the local and they go to the franchise just to go ahead and say, "Oh, I want to try something similar," but I'm not anywhere near my local place. So they eat at the franchise and they might not even like it. It's the same food. The taste is different because it's not as authentic. You know what I'm saying? So that rides right in there in that pocket of what is it? The cultural aspect of food is definitely taste is definitely part of it. It's a big thing that's a part of that culture right there.
I'm gonna agree with you halfway. The only reason I say halfway is because I'll agree with the sense of depending on if it's a franchise or if it's a mom and pop shop that you have to take in consideration allergies and all that. I 100% agree with that. The piece where I have to disagree is that I'm sure all of us at one point or another has been to a small mom and pop shop, a hole in the wall, whatever the case, and had and have had food that we liked or disliked, whatever the case.
Yeah.
And I would wager to say that even where we are now, we all in Houston, that we know of some one-off spots that have good food, but we will still opt to go to other spots, whether it's a franchise or something like that, and get the same style of food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't feel like that's the piece where I'm gonna have to disagree.
Yeah,
like,
we can agree on that on that term right there, because it's definitely like, oh, I'm craving this. It's like I'm craving Cajun seafood. The closest thing I have is Popeyes. I feel like I can barely afford Popeyes because it's fast food, so I'm going to Popeyes, and I'm not gonna complain about it.
Right. Yeah.
You force yourself to go there. It's not as good as the original, but I guess.
Oh God.
Basically.
And that's what that train of thought is what led me to ask my earlier question of the Asian on Cajun restaurant. Like when they started putting up, like certain decorations and playing certain music and having certain things, Like I don't want to say that there's nothing wrong with it, but at the same time I feel like, is this all an experience? You know what I mean? Just to make some money. Not saying that there aren't any Asian Cajun people out there.
Right.
I don't want to say that, but I'm just saying, like, you never really know.
You never really know.
And that's not for them to explain. Like, you don't. I wouldn't expect a business owner or an employee to like give me their life story when I come in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it's something that you wonder. Like when I posed the question of the non-black soul food owner and operator. It's like, well, who are you? How do you know this? Where you get your recipes from? Like, it's like these are questions that enter your mind because the establishment doesn't match what you're seeing.
They might have just learned how to cook from their step parent, and that could have been the case.
Yeah, like it's a lot of different options and avenues. You know what I mean?
Different variables in the whole thought process of maybe how they did everything or how they learned everything.
Yep.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I just question it because I'm black and I can validate soul food, so that's why I immediately went to them questions.
So in my personal opinion, I feel like food appropriation is a thing. I feel like it is, or it can be, a gateway to cultural appropriation, and then just going through that.
You know what? An example that doesn't exactly include food.
What?
It's like if y'all are watching out there and y'all watch animations, cartoons, y'all know what anime is. You know,
Yeah.
Japanese produced cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
People watch that, they get their favorite characters, and all of a sudden they think they can just go to Japan and it change their life forever. So they see like certain types of foods in the show, they see their characters, they see the way they talk, even though most of the characters, the way they speak is supposed to be a comical sense.
Mm-hmm.
When they take it too serious and think they can learn the language, they pronounce it like those cartoon characters, and the pronunciation could be completely wrong, but they think they know what they're doing. That's cultural appropriation as well.
I feel like it could go two different ways. I feel like there's the way that you named it, and I feel like another way could just be a pure interest. So
Yeah,
like let's
yeah.
say they're like, you know, somebody has an disposable income, sizable amount, and they're like, oh, such and such is like my favorite anime. I've never had. Maybe they've never had authentic ramen, right? Like they've had like ramen noodles or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what? I got some vacation time. I'm gonna go to Japan and I'm gonna like try a bunch of different foods, or you know, maybe I heard about.
That's a lot different.
Right, like it's definitely different.
Yeah.
Definitely different.
Yeah.
I definitely agree that what you said is a thing, but I feel like regardless of the situation, it's the intent.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Behind
Yeah.
whatever it is the person's doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like we can apply intent to any of the previous examples that we've all spoke about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think the Asians are trying to perpetuate as Cajun, but I don't know. Who knows?
It could be a possibility. You know,
A facade.
they could have been raised as Cajuns. We don't know. Cajun isn't exactly a race.
You're right. It's
It's
not.
a culture.
It is.
Yep.
Valid point. Valid point.
And also going that to like a non-black owned soul food restaurant. It's definitely a culture thing. You don't know. Maybe their stepdad or the stepmother was not Cajun, but they how to cook soul food. Might have recipes handed down to them from their grandparents or their mothers and fathers.
So let me ask y'all this, in my opinion, controversial question.
Oh
Lord. Controversy.
What's y'all's opinion on such and such is invited to the cookout?
Oh.
Yeah, nah. I'm not a big fan of that.
I mean,
it's like
it all depends. I think it goes back to what you just said. It all depends on intent. Like,
my whole thing is like sometimes some of these people are performative, but for me, it's the whole like, who are you associated thing again. Like, there's some people, they're black by association. My wife is black. My husband is black. We eat this every single day. This is my diet now. like this. My husband talks like this, and you know how, for example, like we're together and you start picking up on my mannerisms. It's like that. Like you pick up the other person's mannerisms, you start becoming one person.
Yeah.
So it's like now it's kind of your identity now. Like you're obviously invited to the cookout, but like then there's like people that are like, don't do this or don't do that or I can do this, you know, and they start showing off and shit, and then people are just like, oh yeah, invite them to the cookout. They start using it a little too like loosely.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
If you act as if you're blah.
Yeah, I mean, back then when we said invite them to the cookout, it was literally like, okay, we like them. They're coming to the cookout.
Seriously.
And now it's just, you know what, you TikTok kids.
What happened on TikTok?
They're just throwing it around so loosely.
Oh, they've been saying that on TikTok?
They're just throwing it so loosely. They're just like, they're invited to the cookout just because they do something like cool or something. Like, like party tricks or something, stuff like that.
Not the party tricks.
Yeah, it's like, bro, like, no, they're not invited to the cookout. What are you talking about?
I mean, I definitely just feel like that statement, I don't know, I'm like half and half on it. Like, I get what you're saying as far as when people were saying it, it's like, yeah, we like your vibe, you're cool, please come join us. Now I feel like, again, another way people are using he's invited to the cookout or they're invited to the cookout is if like now kind of like what's been going on with social justice and stuff like that. Like, okay, yeah. You're sticking up, come on to the cookout. Like, I don't know. Like, it's been used in different ways now to where it's like...
That's a perfect example.
It kind of... Whatever the original meaning of you're invited to the cookout is...
That's the perfect example.
Changed.
Just because it's...
You see what I'm saying?
It's like you're applauding the bare minimum. Like,
yeah.
You should be speaking out. You should be doing these things. You should be advocating, or you should have been respecting these people. You definitely shouldn't have been invading their privacy.
Right.
Like, these are things you should already have the common sense to do.
Right.
But like people see it, and it's like because it's just the one person that knows about it, or like the two people, the very few people. They're just like, oh yeah, invite them to the cookout. No.
Yeah.
You should be spreading that to make sure that things like that don't happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like it's your duty.
Agreed.
All right, y'all. So we done talked about food from the Bay, food from Honduras, Texas, Louisiana.
Food from New York be busting too, though.
For New York, how it can vary by region, by culture, how sometimes region and culture may coincide or differ, and a whole lot of other stuff. So, flash round.
Yes.
Yes.
Go-to dish to make.
Salmon.
Lasagna. Dog food.
Cool. Go-to dessert.
Oh, to make or to eat?
Either.
Peach cobbler.
Ooh, cheesecake.
All right. Go-to non-meat.
Salmon. Wait, on me.
You one of them people. So let's talk about it.
I just look at her. I don't know if y'all saw my face, but...
Are you one of those people that don't count fish as meat?
Absolutely.
How so?
I don't know. I just think meat is your pork, your chicken, your beef. Simple.
So what disqualifies seafood or fish from being meat?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's a mental thing. Like
It's a mental thing.
Those are land animals, and here we're dealing with aquatic animals. Not aquatic animals. Stuff from the sea. Food from the sea.
Yes.
I know, but I'm thinking aquatic, and I'm thinking like...
I mean, you can say that, it's that it tastes different, but fish tasting different from meat tastes different from meat. You know what I'm saying? You have your red meat, you have your chicken.
You got white meat, dark meat,
red
meat.
pork.
I mean, true.
Lamb.
I don't know.
So it's like
I think
you
it's
can count it as
different.
meat, in my opinion.
I mean, just like how people can go from eating all the meats, land or sea, to being just only seafood, shellfish, whatever, to only being vegetarian, vegan, and so on and so forth. Like, I don't know. I think...
But, like, see how you separated that, though? Like, pescatarian from vegetarian?
Yeah.
So that means that you're qualifying it as a meat.
I mean, it's going down in the ladder, but
you're still qualifying it as meat if they have a fish. If their diet consists of including fish, and you don't consider them a vegetarian, you're then qualifying fish as meat.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah. Simply, yeah.
Either way, to me, no. They're not the same.
Okay.
That's just me.
I understand.
I don't understand. But
that's okay.
I don't understand.
I don't understand.
My favorite non-meat is definitely cheese.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Girl, you didn't try those mozzarella poppers and things with bussin'?
No, I did.
Yeah, you liked them, right?
It was okay.
Don't tell me it was okay. I know it was great. That shit was... Oops, I'm sorry.
Next.
That stuff was great.
Next.
Cold dessert or warm dessert?
Warm.
Cold.
Yeah.
Cold cheesecake be slapping.
They do. Dang, I think because I'm still thinking of peach cobbler.
I'm still on.
Ooh, but I like apple pie.
And then I'm still on cheesecake. You still on peach cobbler.
Yeah.
You just decided that this is what we like.
Cookies. What? Y'all like cookies?
Have you had like cold soft cookies?
No, but who wants
I
that?
ain't never had that.
Right.
Kind of like...
How you even eat a cold...
Like
it be in the freezer?
Cold soft
you put it in
turkey.
the fridge.
Turkey. Cold soft cookies.
Turkey cookies.
Ooh.
Turkey patties.
That's nasty. Okay. No.
But like soft cookies, you just put in the fridge. Like they're still
They don't
bad.
get hard?
Of course they get hard. It's kind of like...
I'm like, what kind of soft cookies
Have you
is you eat?
refrigerated? Have you eaten... Not frozen, but like refrigerated. Like y'all eating cookie dough?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, you know how it has that tough bite, but you still chewing on it.
Yeah, but it's
That's
not soft. I would describe it as soft.
It's a little bit softer. The consistency is softer, but it's just as tough
I
to
say
bite
it's-
on.
Okay, so
I
it's
say
like you
it's
getting
malleable.
the chewy Chips Ahoy cookies,
Yes.
but you getting them from the fridge.
Yes.
That sounds uncomfortable.
I don't know. I think the only way to get
Bro,
that type
you
of
know what?
consistency is if you are getting the chewy Chips Ahoy
if
cookie
that is-
and putting it in the fridge.
If that's all to you, then wait till y'all meet my friend who likes to eat mint chocolate chip Oreos.
Oh God.
I like mint and I like chocolate and I like mint and chocolate together. Though I have not had the mint chocolate chip Oreos.
Neither. I don't plan on them
I
either.
haven't. I'm not impressed.
I don't like Oreos.
I'd rather have
You don't
mint
like
chocolate chip
Oreos?
ice cream.
Ooh.
Any kind of Oreo?
I'd
You
rather
should ask
have
what the
ice
favorite
cream.
snack.
Like not even the double stuff.
Oh, I hate the inside.
Talk about favorite snack. I love Haagen-Dazs. The
Really?
ice cream.
I love Cheez-Its.
Oh.
With the caramel cone flavor.
Mm-hmm.
That drug be bussin'. That
Cheez-Its
right
is my favorite snack.
there. Oh, I like Cheez-Its too.
So I'm gonna tell y'all a short story.
Not the story.
Very short story.
Short.
Once upon a time, I liked to go fish.
The snack
Then I
that
had-
smiles back.
Yeah.
Goldfish.
Then I had the flavor blasted goldfish, and
Ah.
it changed my world.
It changed your world, didn't
You
it?
can't go back.
Yeah.
I can't go back. It's not enough cheddar.
No,
It's
no,
not
it's
enough.
not enough. It
It's
is
not
not
enough.
enough.
I don't like my hands being.
No,
You gotta pour it in your mouth.
it's all stuck in there. You get all the flavor.
You get all of
You know what I'm
it.
saying?
I don't know. I like my regular goldfish.
You know,
I
you
love
missing
it.
out. If you
Bland.
love cheese,
They're not. Oh my god,
Ever
they're
since I had the
amazing.
flavor blasted goldfish, I can't
them
go back.
things be busted.
Them things are delicious.
Yes.
Scrumdiddly
You
umptious.
can just
Okay.
take the box and just.
Now I got a question.
That's what I did.
Favorite childhood candy?
Whatchamacallit.
Now and later's.
Starburst.
I'm
Chocolate or candy?
I'm an East Coast
Chocolate.
kid. Yeah, chocolate.
I love
Chocolate.
candy too, but
I like the white chocolate. The white white
Oh,
chocolate.
the white
cookies and
Hershey.
cream.
The Hershey's.
Cookies and cream.
oh my
Hershey's.
god,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I
That
can only eat like half of those.
oh, I can eat the whole
I'd settle
king
that
size
whole
bar.
thing.
I just don't like really, really sweet stuff.
Oh, I love it. I think that's the only thing I can really eat multiple of now. Before, I used to love Reese's and Twix with the chocolate and caramel.
I like Twix too.
It was amazing. I used to always scrape
Left
off
Twix or right Twix?
Damn.
both.
The left Twix is enrolled. However, the right Twix is drizzled.
Hey,
Wait, really?
you didn't know?
You didn't know.
Was
you
it- is
don't
it- was it-
know
she
about
don't
the left
know.
Twix and
She
the
don't
right
know.
Was
Twix.
this a debate in the commercial?
This
Yes.
was like a thing.
Yes, it was the
You
whole
know, in my mind,
debate.
I was like, why are y'all asking about left or right? They the same thing.
They're
It don't make no
See,
sense.
you
Yeah,
didn't,
not
you
the
didn't,
same
you didn't,
thing,
see, you
kids.
wasn't shooting in the gym.
You wasn't shooting
Look,
at the
this is
gym.
my thing. It don't matter. I just love the cookie part of the Twix. I will scrape off the caramel
Oh.
chocolate part. I don't like it. Give me the cookie. Honestly, if Twix would just go ahead and sell that little shortbread
The
cookie
little
part.
wafer.
For a while,
They
I
may
would
be onto
eat the
something.
caramel and chocolate off the top first, and then save the cookie for last.
Man, I would just get the Twix and just scrape
So
it.
you out here
off.
eating half of Twixes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Both the left and the right, so it don't really matter as long as the
But they
cookie is the
made
same at the
different.
bottom. With drizzle or what?
What?
I don't even know. I don't even know if the dang debate. I mean,
enrolled with caramel versus
if you
drizzled
eat,
with
if you eat
caramel.
both at the same time, I'm
Who
sure
does
there
that?
isn't a
They
flavor
psychopaths.
difference.
They
If you
probably
eat
the
both,
same people. And they be eating Kit Kats without breaking them.
I was just about to say that.
you know what? I don't like Kit Kats either, but I do break
I'm
them.
about to say, do you break your Kit Kats or you just bite
I
them?
break them, but I
Break
don't
or
really
bite?
like them.
I break them.
Alright.
I've seen
Both
monsters.
of you are sane people.
I've
I mean-
seen monsters just yomp straight out the middle.
Okay,
Leaving
okay.
the two ends of the Kit Kat.
All right.
Yeah,
Ice
no.
cream. Do y'all bite ice cream or do y'all like eat ice cream?
I bite ice cream.
I do not bite the ice cream.
I bite and then what I have in my mouth,
right.
No.
Like
I
you
enjoy
eat
the
it.
flavor.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I don't.
So,
I
'cause
lick.
The reason I don't lick my ice cream is because when I lick personally, like you already know, I expound so much heat. So me licking ice cream while I'm holding it with the
Yeah,
heat
it just
coming from my
melts
hand,
faster.
it just melts faster,
Okay.
and now I'm wasting ice cream.
Okay.
So are you
I got
okay? That's a lot.
That's how much I like ice cream.
It's a lot of body heat. I'm just
He's okay.
saying.
He's okay. He does get hot though. He does get hot.
Both of y'all some hot body people.
We are.
Oh,
But okay, now piggyback question: ice cream flavor.
Chocolate.
I stated my favorite flavor with the Haagen-Dazs caramel cone.
Okay, butter pecan, but it changed.
You
I used
said
to love.
so.
I used to love cookie dough.
Wait. Okay.
Stop. Yes, I know.
Time. Pecan or pecan?
No,
Pecan.
You said pecan.
Whatever. It interchanges.
She did ask me, and she started off with pecan.
No, I
You
did.
said pecan or pecan? I was just like pecan.
Whatever. Pecan ice cream, butter pecan ice cream. I think it's been. I've been in the South a little too long.
Puerto Rican. Screaming out puppy every time.
Hey! Stop it.
Sorry, I got caught up in what's that song?
Oh, something. Lil Wayne.
Yeah, it's that good old Young Money, Cash Money music.
Yeah, but no.
But you know what? If you're asking for Bluebell, of vanilla.
I don't think I really have
That
a preference.
homemade vanilla just does the trick.
Vanilla just too plain to me.
Yeah, like
but,
ain't nothing in there, no nuts, no
like,
extra drizzle.
Have you had like the homemade vanilla versus like?
I mean, do I get a vanilla bean in there?
I don't like vanilla bean.
Honestly,
I mean, do I get it in there?
That's what I will.
That's what I will.
Like I don't remember what brand it was, but they had like a vanilla,
like
and they had like a bean in there, and then like some drizzle or something. And that vanilla I'll eat because it got a flavor. It's got the.
It has
like,
something else.
Is
But just plain old.
Is it like Briars or Dryers or something like that?
Honestly, I don't remember. Can't even tell you.
If you had to pick popsicle colors, we talking about the ones in the little plastic tubes.
You gotta cut the top.
Yeah, what color?
Red,
Blue.
Purple.
I'm sticking
purple.
Purple has.
That's what I said.
Purple had good flavor.
That was medicine.
Okay, look. You know what? Y'all tell us what favorite color y'all
In the comments below, tell us if you got a favorite dessert, what it is, or if you got a favorite food or your dish, like your specialty dish, like your boo thing finna come over, you finna hook it up. What's the dish you making? What's your favorite dessert you want them to bring you when they done made you mad? Let us know in the comments. But with all of these food talk being said, Lil A, AB,
You already know.
I appreciate y'all for stopping through, kicking it on the couch.
Yeah.
Saint, you've been an experience. YouTube, it's been another episode of Unscripted Conversations. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on those post notifications, tell a friend to tell a friend. Just like that, we out.